Oh my gosh, hello! No? Yes? Uh-oh. Here, I can look too. There we go. Great. I'm on an ad right now. Yes, I'm saying something right now. Hello, hello everyone. Hello to our thousands upon thousands of folks watching at home. Oh yeah, I don't think I hear you. I'm also very low, I think. Do you use OBS? Okay. Oh, maybe. We could switch to Discord.
Let's try this.
Making sure I'm still here.
Hey,
Oh, there
there
you
we
go.
go. Sorry about that, friends. It was set to my default mic, which is not the mic I'm actually using. So,
Oh, classic.
always something fun. Anyway, hello, friends. Welcome to A Date with Destiny. Or, as many of our productions on the Twitch are, it's Sarah Struggles with Tech. But anyway, we're delighted to have with us today Sean.
Either or, that's good. It's a great show regardless. We love to watch you interview roguelike Rumble players. We also love to watch you fiddle with technological things, all right?
You know, it's like the best part of D&D is math, and the best part of a Twitch stream is tech.
As long as you can bring your joie de vivre to whatever you're doing,
Oh,
it's it's a good time.
see, now this is why I wanted to have you on. Well, welcome to A Date with Destiny. I don't know if you've watched any of the previous ones, but I do like to run this a little bit like we've just found each other on Coffee Meets Bagel, without any of the needed romantic chemistry. So for an icebreaker, tell me about your favorite dice.
Ooh, like number of sides or the
Oh,
dice that I own?
nobody has ever wanted to answer it that way, so please tell me which your favorite TTRPG dice shape is because I want to know that
Sure.
answer now way more.
I mean, first of all, listen, D20 it gets all the claim to fame. We're putting D20 in its own little category because I don't think that is. I think it's there, absolutely. It's on all the graphics. All right, you have to be working with a D20, but and D6, it's a tried and true. You see
It's true.
D6 everywhere, but I really like. Mm, ooh, this is actually a great question. I'm torn between a D10 and a D12.
Ooh,
Okay, because D10 you get two of them, which is fun, and they're both a little bit different, even though they both kind of do the same thing,
okay,
which is fun.
sure.
A D12, it really has the aesthetics of a D20, but it's sneaky. I really like the trickiness of a D12 because
Okay.
you pick it up and you roll it as a D20 and you're like, "Oh, I got an 8."
Yeah, yeah.
And then 10 minutes later you say, "Wait a minute, I've been rolling with a D12 this whole time."
Yes,
And so it
frequently.
has like it's a game breaking, it has potential to like ruin a session
It's true.
if you're not careful with it. I think it's a tricky mistress. I think it's a little bit of a minx in that way. And so yeah, I'd say the D12 was my favorite.
That's incredible. I feel like you've just answered this question as if we're in like the TTRPG version of Miss Congeniality. Like, what's your favorite date? April 25th.
April 25th. Yeah, exactly. Because it's not too hot, not too cold.
No, truly, you've broken my question. Most people will go like, "Oh, I have this glitter dice set."
Yeah,
Uh,
well, I'll say to really answer
yeah,
your
yeah,
question. I
yeah.
do have this like I don't know
Aw,
if you'll be able to see it because of the blur.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's
Um,
coming in and out.
they're like
Dang.
these cool dice that my friend got me for my Harrigan dance bard character,
Oh, I
who's
love
very
that.
purple and gold, almost Mardi Gras themed, and so
Sick.
I like those disc dice. They go well.
Amazing. Do you know who made them? Shout out to the dice maker.
Oh, I
Ooh.
don't actually.
Well, that's
They
alright.
were a gift, and there's no tag on them.
Well, mystery. If you recognized your dice, please claim them now.
Absolutely, yeah. They were. I know
Incredible.
they were gotten at Gen Con.
Okay.
So you go to Gen Con, you're a dice maker. Let us know.
Yeah. Are you going back to Gen Con this year?
I have actually never been. This is
Oh.
my friend who went.
All right.
And I really do hope to go next year, though. But I hope to go as a performer
Fair.
more than a spectator.
Mm.
I feel like just who I am as a person, I would get a lot more out of something like that,
Yeah.
doing stuff, than I would just kind of like going around and watching panels. I think it would still be fun.
100%. I will say, I'm extremely biased, and I'm not exactly a Gen Con hater, but I would say if you haven't already, do PAX U first,
Mm.
because it is smaller, but the community there, as far as tabletop, is worlds beyond what I experienced at Gen Con, and I have met so many amazing people just in this. I feel like I've made more and real connections at PAX U versus Gen Con.
Where is PAX U again? Where does that take place?
Philadelphia.
Okay.
So, I mean, frankly, they are both equally difficult to get to.
That's the thing. It's like I don't think either of these I would go to just because I'm like, well, I have a weekend free. Let me
Sure.
just let me spend some money on a plane ticket and go to this thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like one thing about LA in particular is that there is a lot of this. You know, it's
Yes.
like everything D&D is based out of here unless you're like Glass Cannon Network or something, but like everything else that's D&D is here. So what you got to go fly to Gen Con or
I
PAX
mean,
U
this is
for?
true. Do you do WonderCon?
I have been to two cons in my life.
my
I've been
God.
to LA Comic Con and like
Drag you to
Florida Comic
cons.
Con or whatever.
Let me plug then locally. WonderCon has within it the D4 conference, so it's a con within a con, and D4 is nothing but tabletop. So
Okay.
get you some. We'll talk about your shows later, but get one of your shows on stage there pretty easy.
That would actually be great. I need to start thinking like a producer
Yeah,
in
yeah,
regards
yeah.
to some of these shows because I've been just like a performer for so long.
Yeah. I was gonna
And
say, I was like, we're a little cart before the horse.
yeah,
Tell
yeah.
tell us about yourself. Tell us
Sure.
about you as who's Sean.
That's a great question. Sometimes I wake up and I ask it in the mirror. Sean is a, I would say my foundation of myself is came from musical theater back
Okay.
in like middle school. That's like a lot of where like art and stuff comes from in my life, which is now a very important part of my life. Came from after school musical theater programs. Shout out MCT. Um, and it's kind of grown from there. In college, I did a little bit of improv. In fact, I the story about that one is I got into my improv group in college my final year, my senior year of college. And when I finally got in, I was like, "Hey, like why did it take so long?
Oh.
Like what was the issue kind of?"
Yeah.
Cuz I got a call back my freshman year. They were like, "You were just a lot. You were just a lot." And looking back, I was like,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, I was a lot for sure. I definitely toned down a couple notches, and I think became my full self. As much as anyone is ever their full self, we all grow, we all learn.
Sure.
But then yeah, I came out to L.A. I was actually gonna go out to Chicago to do improv, and then
I
as
was
I
gonna
was
say.
deciding to move out there, um, IO Theater shut down because it was in the middle of COVID, and I was wondering where to move after because I was living with my parents for a while.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I think that's the universe telling me that I got to be out here instead. And I'm very glad I made that decision. And I've been out here ever since, doing shows,
Oh yeah.
doing a lot of improv. I say is like my foundational core out here, and love a good podcast. Podcasting is also my my shtick
It
a
was
little
like
bit.
you have the podcast headphones. I got
Exactly.
shitty
Yeah,
whatever I had in the drawer.
I got the SM58 right
Oh
here.
Lord.
Um, and yeah, and that's been growing and growing. I'm now much more involved in musical improv in particular, and then also trying to cultivate this like what is my relationship to the tabletop community as well. You guys actually pick your poison was the first tabletop thing that I did
What?
basically ever. I
What?
because I started getting into role playing games, not playing them, but just
Sure.
listening to them. This is
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
kind of what got me into podcasting as well, with
Which one
my
was it?
brother and me.
Yeah,
It was the Adventure Zone. Yeah,
mine
so
too.
of course it was my brother, my brother and me to Adventure Zone to tabletop
Yes.
role playing game Pipeline that we've all been a part of. We all know exactly how it goes, but
Exactly that same trajectory.
it was when I was studying abroad in
Okay.
Japan my junior year, and I will say pretty homesick. I was not doing too hot, and so I would just like listen to like 2 episodes every night before going to bed, and it really kept me grounded, and
Yeah.
it really opened my eyes to like, oh my god, like these guys who are in separate states, are able to come together and still have just like an absolute blast. And so once COVID happened, I convinced my friends. I was like, "Let's do it. We're starting a group over Zoom," and we did that for like 2 years.
Was that just
Unfortunately,
podcast or was that D&D?
oh, this was D&D. This was just
Cool.
D&D.
Yeah, yeah.
No recording or anything. Um, as many groups do, it fizzled out. Of course, eventually, I was the DM. It was partially my fault, and but that kind of gave me the foundational knowledge of like what this whole thing is about and what it can
Yeah.
do and the potential it has for not only like character work, and learning how to be a good actor, but also like comedy and also healing, I think,
Yeah.
and how you can express emotion in a safe, vulnerable way. Um, and then so going back to pick your poison, I think I remember looking up, I think it was actually I looked up like musical stuff
Oh.
first
Yeah, yeah.
because I think it wasn't Pick Your Poison. It was, I don't know if it had the same name, but it was your Bard show.
No, it was the same. I put up both castings at the same time. So that's what I was going to
Okay.
ask. I was like, so you're one of the backstage crew.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
That
you
was
probably applied to both listings?
yes, I must have.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I remember we met up in a park
Well,
and
so real quick for background for people not familiar, when the Rumbles and Pick Your Poisons pub sing were getting started, I was doing castings for these on Backstage.com because that was what I had familiarity with, and I was not paying for like Actors Access or any of that other sites. So yeah, so there were just, I think it was listed as like one shot D&D battles and like nerdy music bar show because I was trying to figure out like approachable language, and neither show really had any title yet, except Pub Sing. I knew I was probably just gonna call Pub Sing because it is the idea. But yeah, so you were on both, and it was still coming out of COVID because it was spring of 2022. So
yeah.
then we met in a park.
Well, we met in a park. We sang a little bit,
Yeah.
auditioned. I did not get into pub sing, which is fine, which is okay. No, it's fine. And then yeah, we I was called upon to do the second, I believe, Rumble,
Yeah, no,
and
game
it was
two,
very fun.
and you won.
I mean, I wasn't gonna mention that, but like,
No,
yeah,
we're gonna talk about it. You are, as I was advertising today's interview, are truly, I believe, our most decorated champion. Uh, you won 4 battles because when I started it, again, I was figuring this all out on the fly. And we're now this season. We'll get you in. This season we're backwards writing all of the lore for why everything
mhm,
was the way it was season 1. Lamar and I just decided this past game that the other DMs were too busy fighting. Uh, I'm not gonna say the BBEG of the season, but certainly an enemy of the Rumbles at this point. So he and the other
Okay.
DMs were occupied, and that's why nobody knew them or knew who they were season one. But I had thought that we would do a rolling championship. I wasn't even thinking of a season, so I was just thinking we'll just have this long series of games, and it'll be kind of a knockout format that you'll like. The winner will play in games until they get knocked out, and then you won two in a row, and I was like, oh no.
This can't be what happened.
I was like, and it wasn't about you. It was just kind of, I think, me going, I think it would be more interesting if we did it like series style and then like didn't allow people to win, because then I could hold you back and bring you together for a championship. So it was more the fact that you did actually win two games in a row that made me go, oh, I think I actually want to do a season instead of just an endless series of fights. So it's not your fault, but it is a little your fault.
I'm the reason. It's not my fault, but
Yeah.
I am the reason.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like it because it now that we've been running we're in our 5th year and our 5th season, since we officially had our anniversary last month. I like that we have a set year and a set season now that we wouldn't have had if we'd done that format. But who knows? You could have won 10 games in a row and just never been defeated.
Well, that was the interesting thing also, is that I was not up until that point ever like, well, first of all, I had never played in a game before
That's
when I
crazy.
did that. I'd only ever DM'd.
That's
So I knew
genuinely crazy.
I knew Dungeons and Dragons, but I never
Sure.
played before. And so I kind of was like, okay, what is this and how do I do it? Because I'm also not like, I play for the story. I'm not a power gamer, I think.
And yet, you came up with, I mean, maybe not overpowered, not really min-maxing, but for
I
sure
did
had a good
try,
story.
I did try to break the game a little bit, for
Yeah.
sure, with both of my characters. I think.
I think
did do
Harold
that.
way more than Bug.
I think Bug, had his stuff worked out,
Hmm.
it would have been broken. But I think just like the structure of how the game works, and also like the other people that were in my those first two games,
Yeah.
it that was more happenstance for sure.
Sure.
Like it was, and also with all the variability with like the items and what have you, and a big tower appearing that crushed everyone instantaneously, and me going,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, that was and never allowed ever again. Real quick, for anyone who doesn't know, could you please give a quick description of the two characters you've played? So your season one was Bug,
Yes.
full name.
Bloodletter the Undying Goliath.
So good.
And he's the son of the king of the I-10 Hells and the queen of the Silver
cool.
Lake. So kind of like the Fey Queen and the Demon King had a baby. That was me. Actually, they had many children, but all of my dad's favorite sons, as well as my dad, got sealed into my sword, by like this divine paladin who thought Bug was too pathetic to even like waste a spell slot on.
So sad. So good.
And because he was.
Yeah.
And so then I became a hexblade warlock that was being talked to by my dad from my sword. And the whole idea was that if I would win the roguelike rumbles, I would get enough money to pay someone to cast like a curse breaking thing and get everyone out of the sword.
Sure.
I
So you won two
It's-
fights, did you? Did you break your
Well,
dad out?
I actually can't remember if
I don't think you did, because I think you decided to like be
I
in
think-
control of hell.
I think
the
by
I-10
the
Hells.
end, no, by the end of it, because what was also fun about this was like coming up with like a mini character arc and story in, as we said, like a world that was not yet fleshed out, and so it was like, well, anything could happen.
Sure, and you've made a very critical component. We reference it all the time. The I-10 Hells is on the map. It's referenced frequently, especially when we're joking about people running late. We're like, well, Bug's in control of the highways right now, so.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. The traffic. It's like niche reference, but I know you'll get this. It's like that one episode of Doctor Who where all the cars are stuck in that one
Oh my
never-ending loop.
god. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The tunnel.
That's kind of what the I-10 Hells is like, I feel.
Yeah.
Um, but it's also very interesting, I think, looking at it from a performer standpoint of like how can I not only win, or lose with grace
Sure.
in some cases, but also like how can I create a story in a format that does not have a story component to it, really.
Yeah.
It is PvP. It is PvP start to finish. We have a little bit of setup,
Yeah.
but a lot of like the story, quote unquote, comes between like as people are rolling, you get like a few interactions or what have you, and so
Yeah.
you really got to make those kind of things count.
And you really did, and I'm looking forward to when we can get you back at a table because definitely the season 5 whole intent and purpose is to actually get more story out there. And there's so much to play with because we have now at this point 4 years of accumulated collaborative lore making of whatever Las Asimas is and has been to everybody. But yeah, y'all in the season 1 really did a lot of heavy lifting on that front.
But it's very cool how like everyone has added their own little thing to
Yeah.
a point where it's like we are collective storytelling. D&D obviously is all about collective storytelling, but that's in like one collective. It's in
Yeah.
like one group of people that are telling one story. And now you're having how many people do we have now that have been on the
So
tables? Like
the
almost 100?
I believe the roster of performers is somewhere around 63, and then
Yeah,
the actual characters is closer to 80, which is crazy.
that's wild.
I don't, it's a thought. I'm like, I don't think we could ever publish really any lore books for any kind of money because there'd be no way to credit the many hands that have touched it.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, that's part of what I really enjoy about it, and part of what's been really fun this year. Taking a more heavy hand to like pulling the threads from everyone and trying to make something out of it.
Hmm.
But yeah. So then you came back in season 3 as Harold, and also
Yes.
immediately won.
That one, I feel like that was one of the ones I I honestly cannot really remember, but there was one game when no everyone decided just like not to touch me. Like everyone just went for each other. The three of them all like clash, and I was like
Yeah.
kind of sitting back and being like, "All right, I'll take on whoever wants to come to me."
No, I think it was that one, and it was weird. It was kind of a weird game because somehow there were two of you who are essentially like housekeepers because you
Which is
played
fun.
you played your own butler, which I love.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Uh,
I
yeah.
loved the fact that I didn't know that Mayana was going to be like a maid as well, but
Yeah.
that became kind of the game of that entire performance was us out trying to butler and maid each other a
Yes.
little bit, which is
It was very
going back
good.
to kind of what we were talking about being like, oh, how in a thing of very little story do we create these storytelling moments. I think something that's like super useful, and if everyone's watching, and I don't know if I'd qualify this maybe as some advice or something, but the concept of game in improv,
Mm.
which is like you find the thing that is funny, and then you see how you can heighten that thing again and again and again. It's like you don't need thousands of pieces of information and lore.
No.
If you have the one thing, like Bug is pathetic and will make the pathetic choice. All right, he will run away. He will call his mom. Like that became the
The
game,
thing. Yeah.
specifically in the duel that we had, where it was my two characters
Yes.
versus Kimi's two characters. Um, that was the whole thing, as I was calling my mom the entire time, complaining, and I thought that was pretty funny. And then for Harold was the whole like Butlerian attitude, specifically how it bounced off Mayana. So this is just to say for anyone who's out there who's looking to play a part in the roguelike, if it's so much easier to just like you don't need to come up with like 35 pages of backstory or something.
We ain't got time.
Find one or two things and just drill deep, 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 deep into those. And I think that creates a successful performance, especially with a time that you're allotted.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I was I was thinking about this interview earlier and realizing in a lot of ways I feel a lot of kinship with you because you do so much as I do also. But now I'm also realizing not only did we both get into D&D through the same modus operandi, the podcast, the boys McElroy, but also we both were immediately DMs, which is wild, and then somehow now are producing live shows and tabletop entertainment. So tell me and everybody at home about the stuff you produce. So we've loved having you in Rumbles and Dungeon Descents, and hope to have you back for more. But you're doing other things these days. Let's talk about it.
Of course, yeah. And just a brief side note before we go into that.
Yeah.
I really do think that you can tell so much about a person, like, and their where their style comes from based on what was their foundational text, quote unquote,
Mm,
of RPGing and stuff.
yeah.
And so I think when we're talking about kinship, like I think that even though I'm not like the biggest Adventure Zone fan or anything, I still carry a lot of the attitude of the Adventure Zone forward. I know there are a lot of people that are like, here's rules is written, we're doing this, or like if you're a critical role person, it's like this is like story, like
Yeah.
we're like the rules are taking a back seat, but that's because we're telling this epic tale. And I'm
Sure.
like, we're making jokes, you
Yes.
guys. we're
And
just,
rule of
we're
cool.
cracking jokes.
Rule of cool reigns supreme.
Very, it's all very rule of cool. Yeah, it's so I think it's been interesting having been a part of this like cohort of people. It's interesting talking to them, if especially if I know how they play or how
Yeah.
they DM, and then being like, and what was
What got you
your
here?
Dimension 20? Yeah, okay, cool,
Yeah, yeah.
cool, yeah. It's like, yeah, glass cannon. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. That
It
makes
was
sense.
like, I guess where would Dimension 20 fall in that scale? Because
I think it's similar to Adventure Zone
yeah,
era, especially early Dimension 20, where it was like no one at the table really knew how to play. It was just character first and like funny character first,
yeah.
and then everything comes off of that, I think.
And I think
Um,
especially our format is so time pressed. Mine's not just rule of cool out of like we're comedians and we're trying to do an entertainment show. It's also just we have 2.5 hours and then we have to get people out.
mhm,
So I don't have time to look up the rules. I would rather you declare loudly and without any fear what you're gonna do. And if it's good enough, we're just gonna roll with it regardless of
right.
what the rules say because we got a time limit.
Right. But had the Adventure Zone maybe not been the thing that you came up on,
Yeah.
this might have been a very different show, you know, because if you had started watching Critical Role in the first campaign and you saw what these guys were doing and then what they ended up creating, right? Then this might have been like lore heavy first, and then this is a gritty PvP thing. So who can
Yeah.
who can really say,
Hard to
right?
say. And also the I wasn't supposed to be the DM is the ultimate issue. So I don't know how
Hmm.
much of that you know, but it wasn't supposed to be my show. It was supposed to be Max. Uh
Oh, really?
yeah. So the original trio was Mac, John, and I, because Mac was the KJ at the Roguelike at the time, and we would be there at like 1 or 2 a.m. drinking and shooting the shit, and that's how the idea of having an in-bar D&D show came up, and then I was talking about it and talking through it, and yeah, it was gonna be Mac's show, and I'm pretty sure he kind of flaked. Well, I won't say flaked. He had to back out, pretty close to the first show, and then after that one, I just went,
Oh,
well, I
okay.
guess I'll just always do it, and then I got out of season 1 and
Right.
went, dear God, I can't.
And then you realize, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute.
No, I need
Wait, I
DMs.
can't. Please help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that leads back to the producing question
Yes.
that I'm talking about, because
100%.
yeah, it is. I don't know anyone who has jumped right into producing. I'm sure that they exist for sure, but I feel like how I often find, especially creative people, how they end up producing something
Yeah.
is that they look around, they look to their left and the right, and they're like, well, no one else is gonna do this,
So I
so
guess.
might as well be me, kind of thing. Um, and so that is very much how I found myself uh, producing. So and now we can talk about what I do
Yeah.
produce.
Let's do that.
Um, I think the main thing, specifically the thing that this show pertains to, of course, is the show called Tabletop Tunes that I run, which is an improvised musical RPG. So it started off as a podcast. So if you've ever heard of something like Off Book, which is just the Zach Reno and Jess McKenna doing musical improv, doing a full narrative musical improv, totally improvised. It's like that, but set in fantasy realm, but with dice rolling mechanics. And I remember standing outside of the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater one night and just being like, "There's gotta be a way to do this. Like I haven't seen this before, and if we can make this work, it would be something totally new," which is a crazy thing to think about because when you think about like every every creative work ever, it's a derivative of something, right?
Sure.
But then you think about the creative works that are new, kind of. Oftentimes they are a mashup of two things kind of being brought
Yeah.
together.
And you
And
make
this
a
was
better
something that I
sandwich.
had never seen before.
And it's
Right.
awesome.
Um,
I know I've only made one show, but I was rolling the whole time. It was very good.
Thank you.
I'm not.
So
I'm
yeah,
not. I'm not just
it
blowing
started off as
smoke
a
up.
podcast.
It's great. Yeah. Tell about it.
Thank you. We got so I was outside of this theater. I was with my friend Mary Lou, who we had been doing. She was kind of honestly like she was part of this team called Candy Apple Red, who is post COVID. There was pretty much a dearth of mm, performing in general, but just like improv and musical improv, like things were still very much getting back on their feet very, very slowly. And people were really looking for places to perform. And there was this show called Musical Improv is Cool Again that was hosted by this team called Candy Apple Red. And they were, and I think are, like the the show that we needed, like that musical improv as an art form needed in LA. Absolutely. And it's where so many people, if you talk to any musical improvisers, and it's a very, I don't want to say small because it's actually been growing and growing and growing, but it's a
Sure.
very close knit community.
Yeah.
um, but everyone has performed on that stage. Like everyone who has come up in the past 6 years, like loves that show and has gone through that show at the clubhouse because the only other places that musical improv happens is with very established shows, like the shows that were able to survive COVID. Specifically, Baby Wants Candy, which is
Mm.
like the premier musical improv show. There's one in New York, there's one in Chicago, there's one in LA, but no one, you can't just get on to that show. You know, that is
Yeah.
that's a, unless you're Ashley Ward, you're Zach Reno, you're Ross Bryant, you have the chops, absolutely, but you're also old. And you no, not in a bad way
Sure.
at
You
all.
say as you describe a whole lot of people my age.
No,
Yes.
not in a bad
Old.
way, not in a bad way. Just like
They.
these
They.
are
Yeah. They're established.
established people, yeah.
Yeah.
And so to me, Mary Lou, I had at that point been performing just on their stage. I was not part of a team. I would just join mashup teams. um, I had been performing on the stage for like, I don't know, a year and a half or something, maybe 2 years. And she was still very much like a someone that I looked up to
Sure.
in the community because she had created this space. I thought she was very good at musical improv. And then as I found out that she was like also into RPGs, she does a lot of work in the Glass Cannon Network and stuff. I was like, all right, something could happen here. And so we had a drink, we talked about it, and then the next day we reached out to another member on her team, Greg Smith, who is a fantastic wordsmith and can also, he's insane. He can play the piano and musical improvise at the same time, as if one
That's
of those isn't hard enough. He can do
unbelievable
both
skill.
together. He's It's crazy. It's crazy. He's one of like three people I know in the world who can do
Just do
it,
that.
and he
Yeah.
does it so well. And then also we were like, well, let's round out like the TTRPG element. Who are there any musical improvisers that we know who like are known TTRPG players?
Yeah.
And so we reached out to Gabe Greenspan, who is another
It's also
Rumbler as well.
also a well decorated champ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so then they all said yes, which to me I was like, really? You guys, wait, really? You guys are all saying yes to this? All right, let's do it. And so yeah, then long story short, we made a bunch of episodes. We released them. It was so much fun. Then Greg had a baby.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Damn.
And so that's gonna you know mess with every schedule, right? So it became
Yeah.
unfeasible to continue the podcast in its current state. But I was like, well, we're not stopping this thing because this thing is so much fun and I'm having so much fun. It's like every time that we would end a recording session, I'd be like, "Remember, guys, this is my favorite thing in the world. Like this is my favorite thing. I love doing this, and I'll do this forever until I die."
So we're gonna schedule
Um,
this again,
and
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so it has since transitioned to a live show that has been performing at UCB.
So
Um,
good.
is I hope to see it grow bigger and better, and it's been so much fun. And the awesome thing is that it's also like been doing pretty well. So it
Great.
seems like it's going to be continuing. So if you're interested to see how TTRPGs mix with musical improv, come on down to Tabletop Tunes, the improvised musical RPG, and find out, figure it
Yeah.
out, and figure it out.
Figure it. You just get figure it
Figure it
out.
out.
No, it's such a fun show, and it was interesting. You were talking about like that sense of looking around and wanting to know like what doesn't exist. But is it also? It sounds like it's also, as it has been for me with a lot of my creative endeavors. You're not just creating the thing that doesn't already exist, but the thing that you want to be in.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That was the biggest thing. I was because as we were talking about this originally, it was like, what are the two things that we could do forever,
Yeah.
that we would love to do forever? And it was role playing games and musical improv. We were like, all right, it's those two. How do we make that happen? And it was very much a trial. We didn't know exactly how it was going to go. We were like, at first the idea was like, are we doing like a full campaign, like with sessions that
Yeah.
were the same party and we're musically improvising? Eventually we realized that not that it would be like too hard, but it would get pretty rote, because I think a great thing about musical improv is that when you have like a protagonist, that protagonist has one want, right? And so
Sure.
they get one want song,
Yes.
right? So you're not going to be able to sing a new want song for that protagonist every single episode. So we decided on it being totally episodic. All the episodes can be listened to any order, say with the live shows, um, and it's just things like that, like needed a lot of thought and care put into them because we wanted to make it we wanted to take the best parts of both of these art forms and leave the chaff to the side,
Yeah.
basically.
No, it's definitely it's one of the funny things of like with the Rumbles, it was again the figuring it out in the moment. It was designed to be one shots because I also didn't want the audience to feel like they had to come to every show or you would have missed something. And so now we're trying to find that balance of like how do we have a continuous story thread that's also very easy for people to grab into,
Right.
and also
It's kind
allow
of
it to
like
be one moment.
it's a like a cartoon,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Adventure Time or
Yes.
something, where it's like, yeah, all these episodes are they're in the same world, but they're totally you can watch them in any order until it's like, well, no, there is a story
Sure.
kind of
Like,
thing.
especially now, the elimination. It's not that you have to watch the elimination games, but you'll probably enjoy the championship more if you at least watch those two eliminations to see who the final four are, and then you come into the championship.
I mean, I wonder if there is. I mean, this is just me brainstorming on mic, right? But
Sure.
this the roguelike rumble shares a lot of its DNA, I think, with like WWE,
Mm-hmm.
right? With like you're creating these characters and kind of building them up. And in WWE, there are storylines
Yeah.
and there are heels, and I think roguelike has that as well. Like I was for sure a heel.
Yes.
Bug was for sure a heel in his third game at least, the one that he
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
He came in and was like, I'm awesome. He had
Yeah.
this aggrandized sense of himself because he,
Hey,
happened to
earned, I
win
think,
twice.
because you'd won
Well,
two games in a row.
But I will say the first game was a full pity game.
A little bit,
I was so pitiful that the audience gave me the health potions that I needed to win because they felt bad for me. And
maybe.
so I think that Bug as a character thought that he earned it, but he did not. He was standing on the shoulders of giants, I think, and he fell off very hard of
Yeah.
those shoulders. But I think it's something to keep in mind. It's like, yeah, why not just have WWE for role playing games? That sounds awesome.
I mean, there are also people very specifically doing that, but
Oh,
uh,
really?
oh yeah, yeah. That's
Okay.
that's a whole that's a different that's literally somebody else's stream. But no, 100%, the WE of it all, and the ask that I've really crystallized over the last few years is to ask people to be really specific and very big characters, because the nuance is just gonna get lost.
Mm.
But yeah, that one shot format I think is really effective for shows like ours that are live shows that are gonna have a shifting audience. There are hopefully people coming back over and over to tabletop tunes. But
Yeah.
you're right that the well remains fresh for both you all as the performers and also the audience to attend if it is different characters and a different story.
And that's, I think, just like a product of the medium too, because
Yeah.
like in a podcast you have episodes, and in a show you have episodes that you can always watch, unless the show's on HBO, and then in that case it disappears into the void and no
Yeah.
one can ever watch it.
Yeah, it gets written off as a tax
Um,
thing and then
yeah, exactly. And then all your work is, whoa, where'd that go?
yeah.
But live shows, they're live shows. They're the beauty is that they are live and they happen once and then they will never happen again, unless you have like a stream or something.
Yeah.
But I feel
And
like that is
you guys aren't streaming yours though, are you?
we do. Yeah, I mean
Oh
we have
yeah.
live stream tickets, so
But
you
are
can
they
watch
live
from
are they
anywhere.
are they living on
No,
YouTube?
they are not live streamed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are trying to, I mean, peek behind the curtain, trying to figure out a way to make that a revenue source. Because the thing about producing, it has been the most fun thing in the world.
Yeah.
It has also been, I would say, like tens of thousands of dollars of free labor on my part to keep
Yes,
this
yes.
show
I'll shake your
afloat.
hand through the screen. Yes.
Right. And I love to do it because it's like this is the only way that something like this is gonna happen. Um, and I also define the success of these things in a very different way that I've defined like the success of like my personhood.
Sure.
It's kind of separate.
Yeah.
Like I want this to succeed as a product of its own merit.
Yeah. There's been a I don't know where you're at in this feeling, and I think yours is maybe a little different. But I don't want to say I've been settling, but I've been finding a great satisfaction in kind of conceptualizing what the roguelike rumbles are as more semi-pro or community theater level, where the
Mhm.
end goal is less about profit, though I'm very proud to be able to pay every person that participates, and that's a
Mhm.
hard line for me. But it's certainly not profitable in the sense of nobody's walking away with hundreds of dollars. We are not, Critical Role or whatever. So kind of having an understanding of it as a community level of performance and venue and compensation, I think is successful. It's actually a thing that like Gabe, I hold deep in my heart a thing that Gabe said to me of the sense that the community that it's built is the great value of it,
That's what I
more
was
so
gonna
than
say
the
too.
paycheck.
Yeah, I think literally going back to what I said about Candy Apple Red, how it was
Yeah.
like a feeder for like the newest class of musical improvisers. Like I think that's exactly the same as Pick Your Poison. It's a place where like-minded individuals have come in and are given a space to perform and cut their teeth on new ideas and hopefully go on to bigger and better
Yeah.
like ventures using the experience that they had in that bar.
Sell
I
out
think that
theaters
that's
doing musical improv.
that I listen. I think that that's absolutely like the roguelike rumbles was absolutely something that I could credit all of this to. It is one of the things that got me into the world of RPGs in not just a conceptual way, but in like a physical way.
Yeah.
And it got me hooked.
Hell
You
yeah.
guys were the first.
Hey, proud of it. Uh, Couple of things as we're heading towards the end of our time. I have not seen any questions come through on our forum. If anybody watching has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Otherwise, I got plenty. I'm gonna make you roll for some here in a minute, but real quick.
Oh, okay.
Um,
My dice ready.
yeah. Get your dice ready. Where do you currently and you talked about it just a little bit at the top, but where do you currently conceive of yourself in the TTRPG community space? Where do you locate yourself?
Conceive myself.
Like,
Can I
yeah.
ask further clarification on that?
Sure.
What do you mean conceive of yourself? Like what I would want to do? How
I think I'm asking more like where you think you are right now, but also like your goals. Like I see
Oh, okay.
myself very much as like a web builder, and so like
Mm-hmm.
I'm connecting strings to people.
Right.
I'm very glad to do that. Where are you at?
I think uh I'm two different minds about this really.
Yeah.
My first is it's strange. I think a lot of people maybe have felt this way, and I think it explains the current trend that we see in the role playing space right now, where D&D had such its day, right? And
Mm.
it was like inundating the culture, I think. And I'm at a space right now where I'm like discovering that this world is so much bigger
Yeah.
than that one game. And so I am trying to, like, just on my own time personally, find groups of people that I'm like, oh, you guys would be great in a Blades in the Dark campaign. I would love to do like a Blades in the Dark one shot with you guys and stuff. In fact, actually, as for like some Patreon stuff for Tabletop Tunes, we ran a Blades in the Dark campaign, a
Cool.
very mini one, right before the podcast had to go on hiatus, called Play in the Park, which is Blades in the Dark, but instead of it being in a gritty city that runs on demon blood, it's all takes place in a park in the imagination of a bunch of children.
I love that.
And it was so much fun, and I do want to go back to it. And no one steal that idea because I
No,
already have
TM
it. I
TM
already made
TM belongs to Sean.
it. TM. Um, but I'm so on like the non-professional side. That is definitely what I'm trying to do. And now that I have like friends in this space, they're like, "Oh, here's this awesome source book for this game that I've never heard of. Like, let's open it up, crack it open, and play it, and see if it calls to us." So that's what I am in the non-professional space. In the in the tabletop tunes aspect of it, I think I am also right now of the mind of a similar mind where I'm like, I want this to be a another avenue for performers
Mhm.
to have their moment to shine. Like I've seen so many incredibly talented uh, musical improvisers that they we all, as I said, we all went through the Candy Apple Red thing, but other than that, there's like no real places to perform right now because unless you get invited to do a one-off show with Candy Apple Red or Baby Wants Candy or Shamilton, these more established shows that have like money behind them.
Yeah.
And so I really want to I want to make it so that first of all that people know that this is a thing that exists, like that musical improv exists, and I think that using the relative popularity of TTRPGs to do that
Mm.
is great because we've gotten people that are big TTRPG people and never seen
Yes.
musical improv before, or big musical improv people that have never done TTRPGs before. And I'm like, the circle of people who would like both of these things, the Venn diagram,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like,
Stack of
you know,
pancakes.
it's the same thing. You're gonna love either of them. And so for an audience, I'm looking to introduce them to one or the other and have that be like their next big fixation because as it was mine. And then from a performer standpoint, I want to give like stage time to these people who I know are incredible performers and have the chops to make it but just don't have a place right now.
I love that. Yeah, that's, I. It's opportunity creating,
Mhm.
which is awesome.
Mhm.
Do you have your D20?
I have my D20.
Amazing. Because
Oh wait, that's my D12.
this is a date with destiny. I have pulled off 20 questions from dating apps, and we'll see how you can
Oh,
answer
okay.
them in relation to either yourself or tabletop.
Gotcha.
Yeah, go ahead and roll a D20 there.
All right. Any modifiers that I add to this?
What do you think your charisma score is?
Don't ask. Don't
Okay,
ask a man
then
his
don't add.
charisma score. Yeah, don't add. All right. We're starting off nice and plain with a run of the mill NPC 10.
Oh, nice. After work, you can find me. Dot dot dot.
Oh, okay. I was gonna. There are many answers to this question. Some of
Yeah.
them more suitable for the internet and to be on
Yeah.
here forever, and some of them not as suitable for that. So I'll do one of the more suitable ones.
Thank you.
One, you can find me crying over my Adobe Premiere editing software, editing socials,
Oh,
which is my
yeah.
least favorite thing to do. I hate it. I hate it. But you
Yeah.
have to do it. You gotta do it. So you can find me doing that. But here, I feel like I gotta put in a fun one too.
Sure.
After work,
When
I
that's
would
done, when you're
say,
done crying.
yeah, yes, I would say, you can find me on my bed, wrist braces on, bunch of blankets on my chest, Steam Deck on the blankets,
Okay.
playing some video games
Great.
or writing.
Oh,
I like to do creative writing as well.
amazing. Well, I mean, I know you have DM'd. Have you done much like I don't know, deep lore for home campaign writing? Do you have like crazy chapters worth of like I'm creating this world?
My first ever campaign. This is actually, I think this is also maybe some advice for newer DMs and stuff.
Yeah.
My first ever campaign was set in a world called Temelon, and I had this whole story written out where it was a world that had already been like saved once by this group of heroes that then ascended to godhood, and they were the new gods, and something was happening, and things happened in the backstory kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is awesome. This is going to be the best thing in the world. And then I sat down to play and was like, oh, two things. One, this is a very different campaign than the things my friends wanted to play who had never
Hmm.
experienced D&D before in the at all. And so one, always know who you're playing with and playing for,
Yeah.
and like attend to them and their fun as well as your own. And then two, I think my most egregious mistake, which is also I think what made me eventually kind of stop the campaign, was that I realized I had created the story
Mm.
before the players had any input in it whatsoever. Like I would try to find myself I would find myself railroading kind of, or like, you guys are gonna
Yeah.
go to this spot,
Yeah.
and there you'll find this thing probably.
Yes.
And then it's like, and then I was like, oh, I've created these two branches, so there's a choice. Absolutely. It's like, well,
Yeah. But they're
there are
both gonna
two
lead you back
choices,
to the same
sure.
station.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
illusion of choice.
Yeah.
And so I definitely found myself being like, oh, I just created this world incorrectly, I think,
Mm.
because I had this whole plan already set out. And I was like coming up with the final scene in
Oh.
my head, like
Yeah.
as I was writing the campaign. It's like, that's not what you want to
That's writing a
do.
book. That's not writing a
Right,
D&D
exactly,
campaign. Yeah.
exactly. Which is why the next time I went into like lore building and stuff, it was like, well, this will be for a book. This will not be for a campaign.
Yeah.
Um, and and so after that experience, I definitely was a lot more fast and loose with it. Some might say too fast and loose, but there was a show that I did that you were on once called Wikipedia D,
Yeah.
and
Great fun.
the whole thing was that we were playing D&D in Wikipedia articles. And if you looked at my notes for that, you'd see like the name of the Wikipedia article that we were in, and maybe like Monster HP, and maybe like the name of one guy or something.
Yeah.
That was very much an improvised thing. And I think that that's where my strengths are, especially as a DM, because it's like, well, if you got it, use it. Like if my strengths are definitely in improv more than they are in like writing, even though it's something I'm
Yeah.
working on. And so I think play to your strengths, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so
It's a
those are my strengths.
it's a I'm definitely in a similar vein just because I have had only a couple of long running campaigns and they both inevitably ended, but it's very much a sandbox style of like I'm not trying to create a story. I'm trying to create a box and going, which toy do you want? Oh, you want that toy? Okay,
Hmm.
then we're gonna go play with that toy,
Hmm.
which can be maybe not as structured as one would want. Well, we have like 2 more minutes, so let's see if we can get one more question. Go ahead and
Okay.
roll your d20 one more time. We'll see what else we got.
That's a 15 on the die.
Nice. I quote too much from dot dot dot.
Ooh. Okay. My right off the jump, I would say that I don't quote much stuff
Oh,
from
okay.
anything. Truly. I think the one thing that you might be able to find me doing is if there is like something that someone says that is a lyric,
Mm,
specifically in like a musical that I know, I might start singing that.
yes.
That's kind of my quoting a
Yeah.
little bit.
Like if someone says a
Uh,
sentence and part of it is a lead into a lyric, you'll start singing the rest of the
right,
lyric. Yeah.
exactly. And because yeah, I'm not Marvel quippy in that way. I don't think. None of my friends really are. We're not a big reference folk.
Hmm.
Original.
Yeah.
We create
Well,
our own we
and
create our own
that's why
stuff.
you're great improvers. Amazing. Well, thank you for taking some time to talk both Rumbles and also just your other tabletop creations and your life as a performer. Shout it out. What you got coming up? When's the next tabletop tunes?
The next Tabletop Tunes is on July 21st at
Great.
8:30 p.m. at the Upright Citizens Brigade. I will also say I have not mentioned this at all,
Oh,
but another thing that I'm doing, if you're watching this like now or in the next day or two,
yeah.
um, I'm I am in a Heated Rivalry musical parody
Yes.
that is happening on July 2nd and July 3rd at 7:30 and 9:30. Get tickets
Amazing.
now because they are going to sell out. So if you're interested at all in that, please come to that. You can find me at Sean Too Far, and if you want to follow Tabletop Tunes, you can find that at Tabletop Tunes Pod on TikTok
Amazing.
and Instagram.
Well, friends, this has been Sean. I am Sarah, your hostess with the mostest, also known as Lady Destiny. Apologies for the tech errors at the top of this. One of these days, I will have made every mistake possible on OBS, and I will know how to fix all of them. Uh,
That's the beauty of going live, all
yeah.
right?
Hey, and this is the joy of being producers. We're figuring it out as we go,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, creating. If you are Sean, some pretty awesome stuff in the tabletop world. Thank you,
Or
friends.
Sarah.
Well,
Sarah as well.
sure. I can't plug myself. Anyway, friends.
I just did for like 10 minutes.
Well, fair enough. For Pick Your Poison, though, I will say, if you've been out to any of the Rumbles lately, you might know we are on our summer hiatus, but that doesn't mean that content is going to stop. There's almost certainly going to be another one of these. Hopefully, I'm gonna ask one of our current dungeon masters for the Roguelike Rumble season. We're diving into the Synod of Sorcerers in season 5, so we'll probably be interviewing one of our DMs next. And we are going to be at Midsummer Scream this year. So there will be more stuff coming. Just keep your eye on our socials. And yeah, please go visit Sean's to see everything he's doing in the wonderful world of tabletop. I'm going to roll credits now. And that is it, friends. Good night.
Thanks for having me, Sarah.
So glad to have you.